Hello everyone, welcome back to another video in 31 Nights of Horror. Today I'm continuing my Nightmare on Elm Street series by reviewing A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Freddy Krueger returns once again to terrorize the dreams of the remaining Dream Warriors, as well as those of a young woman who may be able to defeat him for good. I was really looking forward to this one because, as you guys know, I loved Dream Warriors. That's my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and I was just excited to see how they would continue the story because I thought the way they ended that story was really good, and obviously there's a lot of more parts, so I was just curious to see how they would connect everything. I'm a little bit disappointed because I didn't enjoy this movie as much as I wanted to. I know there's a fair amount of people that really do like this movie, so I'm really curious to see where you fall into. Let me know down below before I continue with my thoughts if you either liked it, disliked it, or just fall right in the middle. I'd love to hear all about that. But yeah, let's get into my thoughts. This movie is full of 80s. I said in my A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 review that I thought that one was just 80s spit all over you, and I mean, yes, that one is as well, but this one I feel like is even more, and that has its good and bad things with it. So I really enjoyed, for example, the soundtrack in this movie and the score. I thought they were excellent. There was a lot of 80s songs, but there was also a really nice score in the background. And when I mean a lot of 80s, I think the practical effects in this movie prove why 80s horror was really cool in a sense, because we have so many practical effects to look for, because we have so many practical effects in these movies that you just would not be able to recreate or have the same meaning if they were done today with CGI. Like, one that I think about, when Freddy sucks the life out of Sheila, that whole thing, it was really gross, but it worked really well. Another one where the practical effects were just on point was the girl turning into a bug. I have my cons with that scene. I think it's really random, but we'll get into that. But I think the practical effects look great, like the way her limbs would like break and stuff and turn into a bug. Like, it was all very realistic looking, and I think it makes it look really grotesque and gross, and I just think it all worked in the favor of the movie, the practical effects and how realistic they looked, because it makes this world feel more grounded when the effects look as great. So I always love 80s horror just to catch the practical effects and stuff. This movie is so 80s that I think it's aged a little bit badly. There's a lot of things that just I'm not a fan of, like a lot of the stereotypical tropes that are in this movie, like the nerd character, the final girl, Alice. She's very much like a stereotype, and she's very much this character that's like, I'm like kind of introverted, and you know, she's like shy, I guess. She doesn't know where to fit in conversations. Like, I don't know, I just feel like her character was pretty stereotypical. So was Sheila, the nerd character, and like even other characters in the movie, like they don't feel real characters in my opinion, because we don't really know much about them. They just feel like 80s stereotypes, I guess, if that makes sense. And I don't totally think these characters are terrible. I don't think they're the worst in the franchise at all. I just wish that we would have gotten a little bit more, because what I really liked about Dream Warriors was how much we got to know these characters and how I felt like I was part of their crew, and in this case I didn't really feel that way. And we have returning characters from the Dream Warriors, the ones that did survive, and they end up all dying, which is really sad. But my big problem with this movie is that I feel like a lot of it feels really random, and I think with A Nightmare on Elm Street, what sets it apart from other horror franchises is its creativity in the kills and just in the entire world. A lot of things that I've seen in these 4 movies so far, I've never seen anywhere else, and that's a good and a bad thing, because it's good because it's unique, it makes it feel its own. A lot of it feels random, like the bug sequence. I feel like there's really no point for her to turn into a bug. Like, a lot of things I guess are unexplained is what I'm trying to get at. Like, I just feel like this character in this world, it's so obscure, we don't really know much about it, and I don't really think this movie helped me understand things. And I have a couple questions, or I guess it's one big question. In this movie, like, there's random parts where characters fall asleep but we don't know that they're asleep, then it was revealed they were asleep. Like, for example, the guy with like the woman in the bed, in the water bed and stuff, which I actually did really like that scene. I thought that was a cool scene. The Freddy being a teacher, and we also have the one towards the end with Alice in the car, and her with Alice in the car, and that other guy, I forgot his name, but the guy that she's like interested in. So that happens a lot, and for the most part I like when the movie does that, because I just think it's cool, and as a franchise it does that when like you don't know if you're asleep or not. But I got a little bit confused because there were moments when like they legitimately did not go to sleep. Like when Alice was driving the car to try to go get the girl that ended up dying with the bugs, you know, like she didn't fall asleep, then she said she was asleep. Like, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there were moments in the movie, I just don't understand that concept that they're trying to do. I don't know if it's that Freddy calls them into the dream or something, like, but there were several moments in this movie when the characters, we did not see them go to sleep, and it was really impossible for them to be asleep in the first place, but then somehow they were in the dream state, and I just have some questions with that. Literally the main reason why is because of that scene in the car. As they're driving, she realizes that, oh, the girl died, and then she's like, I'm in a dream, but then they wake up. I don't know. There were just weird things going on that I just personally did not understand. And you know, this movie also feels really 80s in the sense that, like, there's a lot of really weird stuff happening that makes no sense, and it's really just out there, and I think it's just a little bit too ridiculous for my taste. I feel like I could see how a lot of people might enjoy this, but this is just a little bit too much for me, in my opinion, just like in my taste. Again, this is just how I personally feel about the movie. I just think they went a little bit too far. Sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was good, but you know, it didn't really make the movie scary. It made it more funny in a way, and I kind of prefer when horror movies tend to go funny, that I'm still a little bit freaked out, there's a little bit suspense, but for the most part, I didn't really feel that with this movie, and that's my main disappointment with it. This review is kind of short. I don't really have too much to say about it. I could still see why people might enjoy it, but for my personal taste, this one is really not for me, and I'm going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, a D. I'm excited for part 5 regardless. I think this franchise is really interesting and just bringing things that are new and stuff to the table, so I'm excited to see what that one does. I wonder what it's going to do, but yeah, that does it for me today, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed today's review, and if you did and you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like and comment. It really helps out my channel, so that would mean the world to me, and thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Remember, stay spooky, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.